Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release, giving you all the games whether you want them or not. Welcome everyone to October 1982. We were last checking out the Intellivision, the console that, there it is, and it's gone. We already played all 4 games. Let's see what's next. Next, we're going to the United Kingdom to play on our Sinclair ZX Spectrum. This is Corner Checkers. Corner Checkers is part of ZX Computing, which is a magazine publication, which means we're going to be typing this one in. This marks our 4th game we have typed in and played from ZX Computing. And there it is, the October-November issue of 1982, giving us, hello, is that the ZX81 on the cover too? ZX, whether it's 81 or Spectrum. Flip to the right page, and there it is, programming your computer for board games. Man, oh man, so many spicy video games out there. And here we are playing board games, or checkers games, I guess. And that's it that we have for artwork. Let's see what, let's type it and play some Corner Checkers. This is by Tim Hartnell, published by ZX Computing. Whenever you could type it in October 1982. Do you want the first move? Yes, yes we do. Oh, interesting. No, wait, it's actually Corner Checkers. I mean, I guess they didn't lie to us, but this one means, of all the games we played so far on the show, we played 9. This is our 9th checkers video game so far, of all the video games that we have played. This one right here is the very first time we've seen a corner checkers, or a variant of checkers that's not actual checkers. I mean, look at this. It's actually corner checkers, which is a kind of Czech version of checkers, you know, like Czechoslovakia. All right, here we go. Let's go 3-3-4-4. We'll use our first move. Oh, you got to type in the same one each time. There we go. And we made our move. Where the H is, computer is the C. Obviously, human and computer. It's only a 1-player game. You take turns, and you move your pieces around. So if we do 2-2, 2-3-3, it should move just like that. The coolest thing I can say about this one is, while we don't play everything on mainframe computers, this one is the very first video game across everything, and not even the stuff we play on the show. We're talking mainframe, small systems, kits, computers. No one, at least to my knowledge, has ever made any variant of checkers aside from the real one except this. This is the very first time you're not playing traditional or normal checkers or drafts, as they say it in the United Kingdom. This one is a totally different one. I know, right? There's no lore on this one, but it is a interesting little anomaly that this is the very first time you could play a completely different checkers than the normal way of playing checkers. Well, there you go. That's all I'm going to show for Corner Checkers. And that's pretty much all I got to say about it. Of all the games you can play right now, it's checkers. You have to type in coordinates, so it's subpar. 2, maybe 2.5 stars is what I'm thinking, around that range. It depends on your mileage of checkers. But you know what? I'm going to say, because this is the very first time across everything, I'll say 2.5 stars of Corner Checkers. It's subpar, but it is checkers playing a different way, and it's the very first time you could ever have any video game that does it. Yeah, Brian's around there too. That's right. That's right, Manly. 2 stars there. And yeah, I want to say, because it's the change in gameplay, Curtis, I'm going to say 2.5 stars. And because I know I say I play every single video game, this show is trying to do everything we can to play every video game, but there's a lot more out there, and from everything I found on Moby Games and different databases, there's no other video game that's playing like this. All right, let's see what's next. Coming up next, it's time to play on our Atari VCS, and this is Cubicolor. Oh man, Cubicolor is the rarest of the rare. One of the most sought-after games you could play ever on the Atari VCS, and don't let this fool you, this is not a real box. This is all a fabrication. Cubicolor was not by Imagic. It was made in-house by Rob Fulop of Imagic, but it was never released, and this one is a complete fabrication. Someone has made their own box and put Albert Einstein on the front because it's not real. It's not there. Maybe they will at some time, Chiptune. I'm expecting that one. Let's check out maybe a real-looking box besides a reconstructed box. There we go. That looks more like it. So this game is our 138th Atari VCS game we played here on the show. And this is Cubicolor, designed by Rob Fulop, an unreleased game for the Atari 2600, at least what it says here. It shows us how to play on the side, and there you go, there's another one. This is made in-house by Rob Fulop, and he has done a few other games we've seen on the show. This is the 6th game that he's done. Before this was Space Invaders on the Atari home computer, Missile Command on the Atari VCS, Cosmic Arc on the Atari, and Demon Attack on the Atari, with Riddle of the Sphinx on the Atari. That's all we've seen by Rob. So he started to do this at a Magic, and what happened was they didn't want to release it. A Magic said, we don't want to, we don't want Cubicolor. So Rob put it on himself and just put out 50 games and sold them for 50 bucks a piece. And then there's another 50 that he copied as well. So this was released, but Rob kind of did it himself. That's why they call it an unreleased game. That looks more like the cartridge for Cubicolor. Yes, and it really doesn't follow Rubik's Cubes. It's more based on the Rubik's race board. Rubik's Race is what they called it, board game. So this one is not necessarily a Rubik's Cube game at all. So the front of the box, or that fake box, doesn't count either. But we do have more of the instructions of how to play this. It was written by Rob Fulop, never released by Imagic. It's the sliding tile puzzle game with a grid of square tiles on one empty slot. The tiles must be moved around to match a certain pattern. In Cubicolor, this pattern consists of colors, or the colors you see on a Rubik's Cube. Match 3 of the 3 sets of colors on the left and right sides, and match the display. So you can see here it's showing the pattern match that you have to get to, and then in the center of the screen you have to move all those tiles around until you get to the right pattern. It's almost like one of those classic sliding puzzle games, essentially. I know, so the reason why I'm including this one, we don't include prototypes or unreleased games. This one's a rare exception because it was never officially or commercially released, but it was out there because Rob Fulop released it. And because we're trying to do all the collections we can on platforms, then we're going to do Cubicolor, which is the rarest of the rare. Oh man, yes. Here we go. Let's pop it and play Cubicolor. By Rob Fulop, published by himself, and sometime in the beginning of October 1982. Which means, does this mean Rob Fulop is part of the third-party publishers on the Atari? He joins the ranks of, Sears, Activision, Funvision, Apollo, Comavid, American Video Game, Bit Corporation, Mattel, Magic, CCE, Tiger Vision, Parker Brothers, Coleco, Telegames, Data Age, VentureVision, StarPath, SpectraVision, Fox Video Games, and US Games. Does that count? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and go into this one. We're just going to push reset and then go in. Nice. All right, this actually looks like I'm playing on one of the screens for a sci-fi movie in the 60s. It looks like it's just one of the ones in the background. That's right. So it's one of the first, you could call it an indie game developer. Rob did it on his own. All right, so the screens on the side are showing the same thing because you're supposed to be matching up what those are. And the way this is, you move the joystick, you hold down the red button, and then you move the tile where you want it to go. But that's really all you got to do. See, just like this. Select it, hold the red button, and then drag, and that's what you're doing, essentially like a sliding puzzle. So you're trying to get the left sides to match up with what is this center part here. So all I have to do is make the center of the colors match. Just this section right here, that's it. And so you just continue to slide the pieces around until you can get it to match. Here's the clincher, though. Why is there the screen at the bottom? You can play this with a second player, which essentially makes this a two-player competitive game where you're trying to race the other player to see who can get their colors to match first before the other person. So as a one-player game, it's just a sliding puzzle, but this marks one of the very first times you could play a two-player split-screen competitive puzzle game, which is just bizarre if you wanted to get someone else to play it with you. So because of that, I think that's pretty cool. I'm just messing around, but you essentially do a sliding puzzle, getting the pieces to go in the right spot in the center. And that's it. Yeah, it's like a two-player race. But it's a sliding puzzle two-player race, which you could only do on a video game unless you and your friends have the same sliding puzzle and you're playing in front of each other. So pretty cool. Yeah, the graphics are all right. Color-wise, looks really nice. So I gotta say, well, that you would probably not have this game. There was only 50 originally that bought the game from Rob Fulop. So if you had it, it's awesome. I'm gonna say 3.5 stars. Of all the games you can play right now on a home console, a two-player competitive puzzle game is a rare treat. And obviously, this is one of the rarest games on the Atari VCS. Looking over the chat, Brian's with me with 3.5, and then Paul's with 3. Because you could say just essentially it's a simple puzzle game, but it is one of a kind. It's nothing like a Rubik's Cube or anything we've seen so far here on the show. We already had our fair share of Rubik's Cube puzzles as well. Yeah, lots of 3 stars, pretty average, I see from the chat, and then Chiptunes with 3.75. Very nice. All right, let's see what's next. Coming up next, it's back on the ZX Spectrum. This is Crazy Race. I have just screenshots for this one, so let's just pop in and play Crazy Race. This is by Philip Nedrick, published by C-Tech at sometime in the beginning of October 1982. You have to steer your racing car around the track, avoiding the other cars. For each dog or man that you run down, you score 10 points. That's what I'm talking about. You have 3 lives. One is lost each time you crash in another car or go off the track. And the controls are just the cursor keys, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So let's go. And we're in. I am the yellow car down on the bottom of the screen. You just have to drive around and, oh, don't crash into the sides or you die. But here's some dogs. Run them over and get high scores. The presentation reminds me that we could have typed this in a magazine, but to my knowledge, you don't type in this game. This was a released game by C-Tech, a very, very rare publisher. This is the only game that I know that is by C-Tech. Just running over people and dogs. So the cursor key controls just is when you click the direction you want to go on your keyboard, that you just go. And you have to avoid cars. So this one is don't hit cars, hit everybody else. And that's a good point. It's not a dodge 'em clone. We can go anywhere we want. We can go any direction we want. We're free to move around. And they just keep adding more and more cars. Oh, and then at the end, we get to put a high score in. That's cool. See if it'll put a long one in. Another go. Yeah. And there it is. Just work your way all around different directions, avoiding cars and driving over everything else. To tell you the truth, this reminds me of Death Race that we played in, or didn't get to play in the arcade. But the one from the arcades where you're driving and running around people. That's it. It's Death Race 1910. I love it, Manly. Very, very simple premise, very, very simple concept. Of all the games you can play right now, it's bad. I would say very, very, very easy. It's more of one of those games that, oh, I'm able to drive over people and animals and things, you know, just for the fun of it. But I'm thinking around 1.5 to 2 stars of all the games you could play right now. Over in the chat, I see, yeah, it's a very simple snake game, but yeah, there's no tail and no biting. It's even simpler than that, Marshall. 2 stars from Curtis, Scruffy Looking 2, yeah, around the lower range of all the things we've seen so far. I'm going to say as well, 2 stars. It's a bad game if you think of all the other games you could be playing right now on home computers. So there you go, that's Crazy Race. Coming up next, it's a commercial break.
Imagic unleashes another game for Intellivision and Atari.
That's
Demon
right.
Attack. Once you take up the Demon Attack challenge, you'll be fighting
Look
for
at
your
that
life.
awesome
You won't
boss.
be able to stop the demons attack wave after wave, watching every move swooping on you until finally you crack. It's gonna get
Whoa.
you. Demon Attack voted Game of the Year in America.
I wonder if you could
From
get that guy to show up for
Imagic,
birthday
created
parties.
by experts.
That's right, by experts, for experts, here it is. It's the release of Demon Attack for the Intellivision. Let's check it out. Starting with the box. Another one that's not the true box by Imagic. You would have had that cool metallic sheen on the box. This one's a recreation of it. But the front of the box has the similar artwork we saw before. Check a look at the front. It's like a dinosaur in space shooting things. I hope we get to be the dinosaur here on the Intellivision. I know, right? You would have been so scared. The Magic commercials have been freaky, like the Atlantis one. I think that was even scarier. But the crazy demon that's on the front. I really want to see if he'll show up for birthday parties. Here you go. Let's flip it over on the back. This one is so amazing. It's very iconic. I just saw from the chat. Definitely. So we've already seen this one on the Atari that was released September 1982. And here it is the second time we played Demon Attack, and it's on the Intellivision. This one is the 43rd Intellivision game we played here on Chronologically Gaming. And for Imagic, this is the 9th game we played by that company. And for the Intellivision, this is the 3rd time we've seen Imagic come to the Intellivision. You can see they give us a couple screenshots showing off that big giant boss on the back. And you can have 1 or 2 players tackle interplanetary foes. Love it. I know, the front of the box is extremely metal. I put it on the thumbnail for this video because it's so good. So besides the box, or the fabrication of a box, we also have the overlay. Make sure you have that on your number or your keypad before you play on your Intellivision. Do we really need it all? It has just the numbers and then the fire buttons on the side. There it is for our Intellivision. Slide it over the front. I know, right? The front of the box seems like I would want this as a poster on the wall. It's great. There's the cartridge for Magic. We're going to pop into our Intellivision. And then this is the version, the second version that we would have had of the box if the first one didn't look familiar. This one was only, I believe, on the Intellivision that looked like this, which is kind of cool because when they did Atlantis, they had some of the boxes that had two different covers as well. But that is awesome. Looks like actual demons, pterodactyls coming to fly down in space. So cool. All right, we also have our manual for Demon Attack, or the game program instructions. Man, the artwork's so cool. Earth lies in grave peril. Winged terror screams across mute space. How does it scream across mute space? Legions of creatures bombard Earth's final outpost, Moon Station Tranquility. Intercept and destroy these garrisons which breed destruction or Earth is doomed. Man, we gotta tear that up. Can you survive the Demon Attack? You must prevail against monumental odds. This manual is different than the manual we saw on the Atari, and which is unique because usually when we see manuals go from one console to another, they look pretty much the same. But this one is really, really good. Artwork is nice. Winged warriors and tentacled terrorists from the Demon Armada shower the moon with devastating weaponry. Man, it's awesome. Displayed so good. Lift off on relentless pursuit of Pandemonium, the demon flagship. That's the boss at the end. It's called Pandemonium. That's awesome. Outmaneuver or destroy galactic gangs of suicide patrollers flying straight from the core of Pandemonium. Erode the flickering shield that protects the demon base. A direct shot from your laser cannon through the revolving window of vulnerability and into the core of Pandemonium will end their foul revolt, but not for long. Flushed with victory, you return to the lunar surface, but you're not safe yet. Advanced waves of demons continue to pummel Moon Station Tranquility, and the Demon Armada keeps coming. Can you destroy him this time? And next time? How long can you endure this punishing blitz? How many demon bases can you destroy? Because essentially the game is going to be looping upon itself. Earth's safety hangs in frail balance, and you must defeat them. Wow, so good. So there's our Intellivision console showing us how to insert the cartridge after turning it off, of course, and then powering it on. You begin the game pushing the reset button. You have to slide that overlay over the top, which does it do anything? Okay, there's the zoom in for it. Yeah, showing you the different speeds. Regular speed, advanced speed, tracer shots, and then advanced tracer shots. And then you can do a one-player game, or two-player game, or a co-op game, but this game plays the same as it does on the Atari. You're not simultaneously on the screen. You take turns in a co-op game after every wave. So it's faster pace, switching back and forth, but it's still alternate play. There's not two shots or two gunners on the same screen. So there's our demon. There's the Earth. Man, they already had up the ante from the Atari with the artwork in the background. We have Earth instead of just a black screen. Your laser cannon has unlimited firepower. You move left and right and fire, which, by the way, the classic trope of the genre, a fixed shooter, because moving left and right and shooting is what we've done on the show for a long time. In fact, this one marks our 344th game that's a fixed shooter, so there's been a lot, especially in the arcades. We also have an automatic firing option. After selecting the Demon Attack game, your laser cannon can fire automatically. Just push the number pad while you're in the middle of the game. And then when you want to go back to normal fire, you press the side buttons. Got some excellent artwork again. You also have reserve cannons, 3 lives essentially, to a maximum of 6 for each wave of 8 demons you survive without being blasted. That's the same ways that they got the lives on the Atari too. You can change the location of the laser cannon reappearance pressing left or right on the disc before the new one appears. Oh, that's a nice touch. Cool. And then tracer shots that we saw on the Atari 2, which essentially means you can use the disc on your Mattel Intellivision to curve the shots around on regular speed or advanced speed. Moon Station Tranquility intercepted signals from demon-based Pandemonium. Use this intelligence wisely. We have winged warriors, tentacled terrorists, bound bombers, suicide patrollers. So cool. And you know what they did? They didn't put the pixel art in. Usually we see that when they describe the characters we're going to see in the game, but they're drawn in here in the manual. Interesting. Demons fire 3 types of bombs: pellet pulverizers, jagged juggernauts, heat-detecting detonators. All bombs gain speed and potency to destroy more demon bases. Take calculated risks. Moon Station Tranquility has learned that when the last demons in a wave is destroyed, any bombs that may have dropped will be vaporized with it. And here's where it gets interesting. Take a look at this. They added some really nice artwork in the manual, which makes me want to have a larger manual to blow this up and put a poster on the wall. So cool. It is a high-quality manual in 1982. And there we go. We get the Pandemonium screen showing the window of vulnerability. Eliminate 3 full waves of descending demons, and if you survive their assault on the moon station, go on the offensive. Suicide patrollers defend Pandemonium. They fly out of its fiery core, destroying with your laser cannon fire. Or you can outsmart them using the laser cannon. I know, right? The alternate version, or a second version, had some of that artwork on the front of the box. But the original one, no. All right, so we have the flickering shield that protects the bottom of Pandemonium. The window of vulnerability is exposed. When the flickering shield disappears, you have to fire a shot directly into the core. Almost like we're playing on the Death Star from Star Wars. Get to the core. More great artwork. And then here's our game versions. With a one-player game, you can do all these versions here. For a two-player game, the original two-player game is competitive, but you take longer to alternate between turns. Yeah, it alternates between each wave. You lose all your cannons in between the turns. But then they have the special co-op version, which is the same as it was on the Atari. Every wave you get to switch out. So cool. But I love the way this manual is phrased. The words they have is epic. Score big against the demons to get 999,000, and you'll go into the Demon Attack Hall of Fame. Write us and tell us your strategic secrets. And I'm sure lots of people wrote a Magic, because this one is one of the biggest games that a Magic's ever done. Obviously, we've already seen it on Atari, but here on the Intellivision, let's see what it's like. It's time to pop in and play some Demon Attack. This is Rob Fulop, who did it originally, and Gary Kato here on the Intellivision. It's sometime at the beginning of October 1982. And we're already in. This one marks our 21st Phoenix variant we've played on the show of all games across everything. So if you wanted to think of this game as a Phoenix-style game, Demon Attack actually got sued, from my understanding, because it looks so close to Phoenix, and Atari had the rights to it. All right, let's see the differences between this and Atari. I'm going to go in with, I won't do tracer shots. Let's just do a normal game mode. Here we go. And let's see if it works. Can I turn on auto fire? I can. You just push a number on the numpad and it just goes into crazy fire mode. Sweet. This first level already looks a little different because the Earth is in the background, and it feels more like we're protecting Earth at this point. I know, multicolored. The graphic quality of video games, the way it has changed as we play the games, is incredible. First thing I noticed, too, is the Atari version had that really cool warping in a feature. You know, when all the enemies came in, they warped into existence, and this one doesn't do that. It's like they're flying down from the top of the screen. Look at that. Different colored sprites. They're also not colored the same way as Atari because these are solid. Each sprite is a solid color. The Atari had the sprites that had, the enemies were in different colors coming down. Whoa. It does look like the moon is made of cheese. I mean, they colored it, you know, beige yellow, so it looks that, right? Alright, we're ready. Yes. Bring us to Pandemonium. And the Atari version had no boss, so what we're seeing here is all fresh, and I gotta tell you, this is incredible. This giant boss on the screen is so cool. For a home console game and a shooter, this is epic. There it is. Get it? Yes! We did it! And there's our victory. And our victory is short-lived because we go right back to the beginning and continue. Was that just Pomp and Circumstance by Edward Elgar? Did they just play the graduation song for the end of the game? That's true, yeah, Curtis. Since it's Phoenix variant, you know, it has the boss at the end. When we played it on the Atari, I thought the Atari version had it because I had a memory in the back of my mind that it was there. But no, the Atari version had no boss. So we have the giant one here. So for the Intellivision, Magix had 3 games. We got to play Atlantis, which that port between the Atari version of Atlantis and this one is drastically different. And we also played Beauty and the Beast. And then this one is a different, not a completely different game like Atlantis was than the Atari, but this one is different. It has a different feel to it than before. All right, I'm going to go with a tracer shot this time. Yeah, there we go. Now we can curve the bullets. But this one isn't doing everything in a better direction because this feels a little slower than the Atari version, just slightly. And it also doesn't have that animation of the characters, the enemies zooming in. We also don't have the enemies splitting with kind of a shock value because this one, the enemies that split here, you can see there's 2 up there. So you can anticipate them to be splitting in 2. But when we played Demon Attack on the Atari, it didn't seem that way at first. When you saw an enemy split on the Atari, it was a little bit of a shock. You weren't expecting it. But here on the Intellivision, the enemy types look a little different. On the Atari, they look similar to one another, but you know, they play differently. Wow. But you can't deny that boss at the end. The boss is what really hits this home and makes it feel more like you're playing a true Phoenix variant. Man, it plays still pretty good. And if I want to, you notice I'm on manual fire right now. I can switch over again to auto fire. Go, go, go. Another thing to consider is if you're a fan of the controller or not. Obviously, for me, the Atari VCS controller plays better than the Intellivision disc, and I could see some people getting, you know, a little fed up with the disc compared to the way it plays on the Atari. But the gameplay is simple. Just move left, right, and fire. And if you got auto fire on, you just need to make sure that disc moves left and right for you. Oh, okay, yeah, and depending on how, the sound. So I would say graphically they've added some more elements here that are really, really nice, but not everything's an improvement. I wouldn't say everything they've done has improved over the graphics of Atari. Sound-wise, though, Brian, I'm with you. I like the sound of the Atari version. No, it's harder to do tracer bullets on the Pandemonium and get them in there. Oh, there you go. And Chiptune's thing is it's stepped down. So in the world of 1982, if you were a gamer, a shooter gamer, there is a contention right now between the Atari version of Demon Attack and this, the Intellivision of Demon Attack. There are some that would say this one is better, and for the reasons we brought up. And then there's people that say the Atari version is better, for the reasons we brought up before. When we played the Atari version, on Chronologically Gaming, we gave that one a score of 4.5 stars of all the games you could play right now on a home console. And I'm a little on both sides. I can understand the good things that this game has and some of the bad things this game has. Oh, that's true. And I just saw in the chat about the Tandyvision. We are going to see some games on that system, you know, the version of the Intellivision in other countries. So here we go. Demon Attack on the Intellivision. Of all the games you could play right now, is it worth the same rating or similar rating as the Atari, or would the Atari version be the king of the consoles rather than the Intellivision? I'm looking over in the chat. I already see Scruffy looking throwing out 4. Ubicore's throwing 4.5 stars, which is what we gave it on the Atari. Here on the Intellivision, I wouldn't call this a general overall improvement like we saw with Atlantis. Atlantis was across the board. And I see a 4-star from Chiptune, variation mainly is thrown out 4 stars. Yeah, great comments from the chat. Curtis is saying 4. Charlie's saying 4.5. Yeah, 4 stars. Looks amazing. Very good. So I'm gonna actually say this is, since it's not an improvement of overall of everything for the Atari, I'm still gonna say it's one of the best games you could play on a home console. So I'm gonna say 4.5 stars, but it'd be the judge of which one, based on the Atari or the Intellivision, is a better playing game. For my money, I'd actually give it a slight nod to the Atari, and that would be the joystick control. Just because you got a boss and it looks amazing and plays all right, that control needs to be where it's at. Yeah, I know. It has some of the subtleties. I like the multicolored sprites. I like how the sprites warp in. There's the sound effects also on the Atari are a little bit better. So interesting. I love when games give us a little challenge like that. So there you go. That's Demon Attack on the Intellivision. It's time to put the video game playing on pause. Next time on Chronologically Gaming, we're tired of Donkey Kong variants or riffs on Donkey Kong, and we want the real thing. Well, sometimes you don't get exactly what you asked for. That's it for today, and like I always say, auto-fire is not cheating. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.